Hooray for Santy Claus! Now all year long at the North Pole, he's busy making toys. But he knows just what you're doing, so you better be good girls and boys. Hang up that mistletoe, soon you'll hear ho ho ho. On Christmas Day you'll wake up and you'll say, hooray for Santy Claus! S-A-N-T-A-C-L-A-U-S, hooray for Santy Claus!
Hello, and welcome back to Beating a Dead Horse. As always, I'm your host, Sean McKinda.
And I'm your host, Jackson Keller.
And, Merry Christmas. This is, a little bit of a Christmas special for us. Obviously, this is coming out on a Monday, as opposed to the usual Thursday. This was also our first, real viewer-suggested one. This is presented by Chris, aka The Bearded Bane, over on Twitch. So if you want to go say thanks, that's where you can do so. We're obviously talking about Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. How Christmassy.
And what a suggestion. Oh my, just, what a film to bring in the end of the year with.
This was a delight in every way, shape, and form. I was, expecting this to be like, MST3K did it, so, there's usually some joy to be had from it, but a lot of times it's kind of, if you're watching it without them.
Yeah, a lot of times the joy comes from them. They're not as funny by themselves.
Yeah, I would never try and watch Manos without MST3K. That looks like a nightmare. But no, this one ended up being a real joy, even without the MST3K troop.
It somehow rides that fine line between being full of Christmas good cheer and also being this batshit insane Cold War political thriller. I loved it. I watched this without the girlfriend Sam, and she came home, and I'm like, I'm so upset that you weren't here for this. This was, wonderful. This will probably be a thing that I'm watching, yearly from now on. It was such a great treat. And, I highly recommend, if you're looking for something Christmassy to watch, on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever, put this in. It's, $2 to rent on YouTube, and it's a wonderful, wonderful way to kill an hour and a half. Excellent family viewing. The Keller household was watching Santa Claus Conquers the Martians with me. And my dear mother had much to say about about its political leanings and message. So, told me to make sure that we talk about those. So don't worry, Mom. We're talking about them.
Yeah, it's like Frosty the Snowman meets 1940s, 50s, 60s, somewhere in that vicinity. Pulp science fiction meets Cold War propaganda. It's fucking wild.
I gotta say, I love, especially in video games, the kind of the 50s aesthetic. And we see that quite a bit because, BioShock and Fallout were, really kind of started that trend. There are a lot of other games that are kind of piggybacking off that. But what I particularly like is, the Alien Isolation thing, where, they recreate the feeling of, an older, future, retro-futurist sci-fi feel. And so what I really want is I want some sort of, an adventure game, not a shooter, because it needs to be, somewhat wholesome. I want, a video game based on, 50s and 60s sci-fi sets, where everything looks like it's made out of cardboard.
I feel like that has to be a Tim Schafer product somewhere.
If this exists, someone let me know so I can play it, because I feel like it must.
Yeah, it sounds like a Tim Schafer point and click. I don't know which one, but it sounds like that's out there.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, do we care about spoilers for Santa Claus Conquers the Martians? Because I think this episode's basically going to turn into us trying to convince the good people to watch it through the highlight reel.
Probably, yeah. I don't think there's really anything to spoil per se. It's a Christmas movie. It's everything that you expect it to be. It's what it says on the tin. Although also not really, because Santa Claus doesn't actually conquer the Martians.
He conquers them through love and good cheer. He spreads the joy of Christmas, and the Martian culture is changed for the better. And Florbo Droppo is the new Martian Santa Claus.
It's basically exactly like the ending of Metal Gear Solid 5, except with Santa instead of Big Boss.
There it is. All right, cool. We can check that box off and we can move on. We're going to be dropping a bunch of names. As you say, Florbo and Droppo. It's going to sound like we're making all these names up. We're not. Some of them, I'm sure we are.
I was going to say, we're making up some of them, but, we might... Let's put it this way. In making up names, we might get them right on accident.
Droppo is absolutely correct.
Droppo is 100% correct. Droppo is one of the film's central figures. I think of the Martians, there's Droppo, there's Kibo.
Do you want to be corrected, or do you want to just let that sit?
Let that sit for a minute. You can correct me later. We'll leave them wondering. And
Okay.
then there's Valadar. Valadar's from Fire Emblem. So that's our main hero is Keeber, who's handsome, like 50s dad Chad, who is a complicated hero who just wants the Martian children to be full of childlike love and wonder.
And weak.
And that's where our villain Valadar takes issue with Keeper's methods, because he's all militaristic and he's like, we need the Martian children to be strong and practical, seen and not heard. Get them out of the way. And Droppo is our racist caricature Martian sidekick. Oh, that's the one less delightful thing about this movie.
All right. I might have missed the casual racism.
There's definitely what's the best comparison? If you've seen, I don't know if you've seen any like the 60s James Bonds, but like James Bond's black sidekick in Dr. No, who's like this extremely racist caricature who just constantly messes up and is full of like superstition, is a big idiot, like basically like a minstrel show. That's featured in Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, and it's a doozy to say the least. But the rest of the film is so wacky and wild that I'm forced to recommend it anyway.
Yeah, like I kind of honestly, I kind of missed that racism altogether. Just because it felt like, everyone looked basically exactly the same to me.
It was hard because the green face paint was so terrible, so everyone looked like a vaguely green-brown smear.
Yeah. So I just kind of wrote Droppo off as like a wacky thing that just happens. Like it felt very, not necessarily racist, just kind of a wubba 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 thing.
And to be fair, the fact that Droppo becomes the Venom Santa on Mars is a nice turn for the character.
Knock knock, let the Santa inside.
So those are our cast. And then there's Billy and Betty, who are our children. And
Earth children. We should specify.
They're also Mars children, who are basically exactly like Billy and Betty, but like their dark mirror, because when the Earth kids are having fun with all the lively good cheer on Earth, and the Martian kids are sitting there draining their brains watching the Earth programs, the television, very, very political, all day, and they become drones. Then those roles begin to switch when Billy and Betty are kidnapped by our great hero Keeber, who
forces them to make cookies. That's where Keebler Elves cookies come from.
It took me a minute to remember if you were being serious or not. He does put them to work in Santa's automated toy factory. Also another highly political moment where Santa like presses the buttons and like dolls come out of the conveyor belt, and he just sort of like sighs and
then looks directly at the camera.
He gravely intones that toy making isn't what it used to be with all this automation, and his fingers are getting tired from just pressing the buttons all day. So, the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is a real working man's film. It's a real, like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and, get out there and cut some wood and live life in the woods like Billy and Betty.
Yeah, like the political messages that are just throughout this entire thing are so weird. There's like a 5-minute extended sequence of just military planes taking off.
Yeah, there's a lot of like showcasing of like the United States military. There's like a newscaster, and it treats the like arrival of the UFO like any other first contact movie that is like, the Soviets have denied any involvement in this affair. They have not launched any satellites to over, the United States. And also just like, in general, the presence of that early 60s, late 50s American exceptionalism, that Cold War feeling, it just drips from every single pore of this movie. And I mean, that's ultimately the ideological divide between Kieber, who just wants to do right, and let the people of Mars live happy, free lives through the joy of Santa Claus. But then you have the communist being represented by Valadar, who is only about strength. He's only about the state. He's only about keeping things running as efficiently as possible and putting them to work as soon as they can. And he disregards the wisdom of the elders who came before, who is absolutely the funniest character in the entire story, because every single word is like a horse. It's like a wheeze, and he sounds like he's on the verge of tears like every 3 seconds. It's amazing.
Everything has gone wrong. The children, I foresaw this coming. They are bored. They have no fun. Everything has gone from them.
And so
it's wonderful.
No, he's absolutely my favorite part. I was cackling. And like, I feel like that old man who played him, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was like, I'm gonna be the elder.
Ham it the fuck up.
Also, like, I just love that there were several all right, I'm gonna drop this meme. I'm gonna drop this meme in here. So if you've ever seen a video passed around that's called the solitary laugh.
Oh no!
I'm telling our dear listeners to look up the solitary laugh. You'll know it when you see it. It's just an old lady laughing by herself on YouTube. Not that old, like middle age maybe. And like there were several moments in the film where like Santa and the other characters just start cackling, and it's
I was thinking that too, actually.
It's kind of horrifying. They'll just sit there and, like, at one point, like, they're not even telling a joke. They're not even responding to some, like, quip that Santa made, because that's his role, is to be, like, the happy, funny dude, basically to, inspire everyone like you do when you're Santa. But he just starts going, like, oh, for, like, several minutes. And
Santa never really tells a joke in this entire thing, and yet cackles nonstop.
and it's not like his cheerful like oh. It's much closer to like a villainous diabolical like cackle. It's out of this world. Santa knows he's in it for the long con. Like Santa's good-natured naivete, representing the innocence of children as he does. Valadar,
but the children aren't innocent. They understand what's happening.
But Santa is trying to preserve that in them. Like, Santa's trying to get them to not be beaten down by the cruelness of the world. And who is crueler than Valadar, who tricks them?
My dude, the amount of, like, analysis that you have put into this film is insane.
I mean, there's just so much to unpack. It's so dense. There's so much going on in every single shot. And so this is all leading up to another favorite scene of mine, because that contrast between the good cheer of Santa and the brutality of the cold world. Because earlier on, we get a polar bear who is clearly just a man who walked on the set from FurCon down the street.
The first documented furry.
And then there's this cardboard robot who immediately shows up after the polar bear, and the polar bear situation is resolved by doing nothing, and he just kind of gets bored and go away. So, there's all the harsh brutality of the robots and, the polar bears, the cold world, the howling winds of winter, and it all culminates when Valadar, he's like, "Oh, children, I'm here to deceive you. I'm gonna take you and show you the ship. It's gonna be a great time." And Valadar gets some nice like 50s villain like quips.
Oh my god, he's twirling that mustache the entire time.
It's so good because then he brings him into the airlock and he's like, "Oh, I'll be right." And he doesn't even say anything. He just leaves. And then they can't open the door. And Santa's like, "I'm sure Valadar just stepped out for a smoke." Oh.
Whoopsie doopsie, oh.
And then, of course, Valadar tries to shoot them out of the airlock.
And is positive he killed them, too. He's like, oh yeah, for a little bit, there's like, oh yeah, the kids are dead. And the kids are off screen, and like, for a young child, I feel like this would be kind of traumatic.
Yeah, because Kibo comes in, like, you know, the like stone-jawed like hero that he is, and he's like, "Valadar, what have you done? Where is Santa Claus?" And he's like,
Where's the rebel base?
"He's not here anymore."
Yeah, and he drops like, I shot them into space to freeze like the space trash they are.
I forgot about that line.
Like just cold stone fucking, they are dead and they are trash.
Because they don't fit in with the ideals of the state, of the communist state, of the Soviets putting all the children to work to advocate, to go towards the Martian cause. But then you have Santa, and after Valadar gets away, after an excellent fist fight, I'm putting out a bounty. Someone cut me a video of the fist fight from Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, that first one where Kibo starts beating up on Valadar, but set it to "It Has to Be This Way," the final boss music from Metal Gear Rising. and then send it and then at me on Twitter with it. That's my bounty. Someone do it for me.
Oh my god.
And so then, of course, Santa's all right because there's Santa, given his chimney powers with his clever schemes, he's able to go through the airlock like it's any old chimney. What a swell guy.
I just want to take a quick aside here to say two things. Number one, we have not made any of this up. This is important. Like, this is not one of those where we're goofing the entire time and just making shit up. This is genuinely a wonderful, wonderful film. And everything we've said has been 100% true.
100% accurate. In fact, like, I was memeing a little bit when I started going on, like, the capitalism, communism thing. After talking about it more, I am genuinely convinced that is what they were going for.
I mean, honest to God, like, it's totally possible. Just given the era, given how everything works. Yes, it felt, I'm like, wow, this is really fucking strange. What a goofy joke. And I'm like, wait, this kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Because,
oh no!
Because at the end, after the mix-up where Venom Santa gets taken to Valadar's villainous cave with his henchmen, and they trick Valadar and finally defeat him, not through the heroics, not through the action hero of our flawed hero Kibo, but the children like bombard him with toys, and he just keeps going like, ah! Oh, you got me. Oh, the balls. Oh, stop hitting me with the bat. They just keep, things just keep happening. And then Kibo gets in a fist fight with another guy outside. And it's just nuts. But the point is that the toys, the products, the capitalist success, they are what bring Valadar down. They, not the might of the state, not the might of Kibo, but capitalism itself and its icon Santa Claus are what saves the day and defeat the villain.
All hail capitalism, all hail the USA.
God bless America. Get in your planes. The United States will have a moment of silence for the United Nations will have a moment of silence for Santa Claus. Hooray for Santy Claus.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, is you will have that theme song stuck in your head for the rest of the week.
Yes. For the rest of time, perhaps.
I was positive when that theme song came on that I was going to hate this movie. I was already, it started, I was kind of cursing Chris's name, and then it goes on for 5 minutes of just, "Hooray for Santa Claus, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da," and then, just for 5 minutes, just that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna fucking suck. and then it opens on these Martians in just the 1950st fucking outfits you can imagine.
With their scuba masks on their head.
Yes, and like fucking mixer sprung sticking out of their. It's wonderful. And then fucking the Kimar walks up to a door and points at it, and it opens. Like, that was when I was sold. When he walks up to a door, it doesn't automatically open. He fucking points at the door like, you will open, or I will wreck your fucking shit up. And it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, boss, I'm open.
It was unironically fresh as fuck, and I hope that's how all doors open in the future.
It was great. It was so fucking good. But no, my big question here is, what the fuck are they raising these children to do?
They don't say, because it's not like when the children are bored. It's weird. Like if we want to dive deep into the, political messaging here, it's weird that like, it's not as clear cut as like TV bad, outside good, because like the kids still watch TV and enjoy it at the end. But like, and like the dad's fine with it, but also they're not being like put to work. Like, I guess like, is the movie against like school? Like, cause there was that big like, because the old wizard had that big monologue about how their brains are being bombarded with information every second of every day. And like, so like,
well, that's because that's how they learn. The helmets like force them to learn at all times.
Yeah, but then they don't do anything different. In fact, like, they just go, they're still going to work. They're just working in Santa's workshop, which I guess is like altruistic, but also
congratulations, children, you get to work for me. Sweatshops, they're back.
This literal factory. I hope you enjoy your capitalism, kids.
But no, like, okay, so they have these head things on from birth to learn everything. Because this is, like, the great Saiyan race of Mars. And, like, the whole thing is that, Vidmar is so proud that they are, like, great warriors and we will do yada yada yada. But, like, what the fuck are they conquering? I'm so confused by that. Like, I realize that this is, like, just a total... Who fucking cares? It's Santa Claus Conquers the Martian. We're gonna get into, like, a jokey, semi-serious lore analysis. Fuck you. Because, like, so... These Martian colonists are, like, the greatest conquerors of whatever. And they're like, we're bred for war, and we will fuck your shit up, assholes. But, like, they only use stun weapons that briefly paralyze Mrs. Claus and some elves for a little bit. And then that's like, it.
I was going to say, they're remarkably peaceful, like, Valadar notwithstanding. Like, all the other members of the council are, like... totally fine with Kibo's plan to just, like, extract Santa and have nobody know. And, like, he doesn't want to kill the kids, he adopts them. Like literally is like, you're my child now.
That's creepy, actually.
I know, and he's like, what's the matter, kids? Aren't you happy? You don't miss your parents, do you? Like,
the parents that you never got to say goodbye to that we just took you from.
And the kids are just like, no, Kibo, it's okay, new Martian dad.
We're going to bed.
Yeah.
Are you okay, children? We're going to bed. But what can I do for you? We're going to bed. That was like a 5-minute scene of just a call and response of something. We're going to bed.
Because what we're missing, there's a reason we chose this for the Death podcast. They're talking about the big sleep, the eternal sleep. If Santa Claus hadn't brought the Christmas cheer, those children would have withered. It's only after Kibo accepts that he needs to reach out to his own children and not forge the surrogate relationship with the ideal son and daughter that he can move on and become the Martian hero that he was destined to be.
I have like 3 responses to what you've been saying, and most of it is just fuck you.
Fair.
No, Like, these are all, like, legitimate readings of this fucking movie, but the fact that anyone took the time to read that is insane.
I'm changing my course of study. I'm not gonna be a fiction track in grad school. I'm gonna be a lit man, a literary man, and I'm gonna write my thesis on Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, a paternalistic study in capitalist excess.
Like, honest to God, though, that would actually be a pretty solid thesis.
I'm kind of sad that, like, the semester just ended, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't write this paper for my theory class.
Because, like, that's a good theory. Like, this entire thing is clearly, like, no lie, a very capitalist thing. It's dripping, as we said, in Cold War influences. It would be wonderful. Like, they even make a crack about Russians.
And plus, so my aunt was watching with us briefly, and like when the like doctor, the German doctor came on, and like the soldier boys were getting in their plane, she was like, "See, this is why we need the Space Force. This is why Donald Trump's got to build the Space Force."
Oh no! Oh no!
She was memeing, by the way.
I mean, clearly, yes.
I mean,
I was worried that she might actually be concerned that Santa Claus might get taken by Martians at one point.
Oh god.
How did we have like spaceships?
They were experimental, untested.
Yeah, they did mention that, didn't they?
Yeah, then they straight up said, like, someone was like, but Dr. Von Braun, won't they die when the spaceships inevitably, like, burn up in the atmosphere from not undergoing, regular testing? And the doctor's like, of course, but this is a sacrifice we need to make for Santa Claus.
Everyone needs for this to happen. We would be very sad if Santa Claus disappeared. It is for the children.
These men should be honored to give their lives for our savior Santa Claus.
Our Lord and Savior of capitalism, Santa Claus.
What a movie. I gotta say that, like, this movie comes up. I don't know if I've ever actually watched this before. I know I've watched, like, videos about this at least, but, like, I remember back, like, mid to late high school when I started getting into the whole bad movie thing. I went out and, like, sought out a few, and I feel like this one's name comes up enough that, like, I wouldn't, I would go and, like, find it. And when I saw that polar bear, like, that was, like, a flashpoint memory. Like, I had very clearly seen that thing before. But the rest of the movie, I just cannot remember it. Like, it's like, I don't know if I watched it or if it's just been wiped clean from my memory aside from that damn polar bear.
I'm like 90% sure I have a copy of it somewhere in my DVDs, but like I don't think I watched it either. I think I made it expecting it to be the MST3K version, realized it wasn't, went, never mind then, and never actually watched it. And I'm really disappointed that I didn't now. I've had it for like years.
So here's a question. So like, why do you think this movie is as reviled as it is? Because certainly, like, there are other Christmas movies from the 60s that are just as corny, that are just as, like, low budget, and yet a lot of those are considered, like, holiday classics, and yet Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is considered one of the worst movies of all time, and I don't get it. It's such a genuinely fun movie.
I refuse to believe that this movie's considered bad. I'm looking at the IMDb page, where it has a 2.6 out of 10 on it, but I still refuse to believe that. Like, like, the fact that more people don't watch this yearly is insane to me. Like, it's such a charming movie. Everything about it is great.
Is it just because, like, it was on an MST3K? Is that the only reason?
I think that's the only reason people remember it, honestly.
I mean, fair, for sure.
But I don't know if that's the reason why it's so poorly rated. Like, I feel like MST3K has done some decently rated movies in the past too. I think it's a combination of, like, just being overly corny and, like, people not understanding what fun is.
I mean, like imagine being such a sourpuss that, like, you sit there and you watch Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, and you feel the need to go on to imdb.com and give it, like, a 1-star rating. Like, what kind of monster so lacking in good cheer would do such a thing?
Oh my god, wait. Can we find the ratings for this? Can we find somebody who rated this?
I think it has a Rotten Tomatoes page.
Oh, that's how we're gonna wrap up this fucking thing, is we're gonna read some reviews.
I like this plan a lot. All right, let me bust out the old phone here. Yeah, but I guess before we is there anything else we want to say? Any other wild things before we start like ripping into people for shitting on Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?
It's fucking wonderful, and you should go watch it. Like, seriously, it's great. It's so good. It's a wonderful, wonderful ride. Get some friends, just gather around, maybe pour yourself some Christmas ale or something like that, and just sit down and watch this. It's great. It's wonderful. You'll love it.
Delightful. Weirdly enough, like it was like a dark omen, or maybe a like sign from God that my family went to play indoor mini golf that had like a space alien theme, and at the desk on the counter for $20, they had a copy of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians for purchase. And I thought about doing it, but I'm like, no, what if it's boring? Like, I won't ever watch this again. But now I'm like regretting the fact that I didn't. I hope it's still there. I might go back.
I say I'm bumping over to Amazon right now. All right, let's fucking look at some of these reviews. Oh man, I don't know how to clear the spoilers tag, but this one's just called Ho Ho Homicide.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but then it's got a warning spoiler, so I can't fucking look at it.
Here's one from the TV Guide. This is, without exaggeration, one of the single worst films ever made, which hasn't prevented it from becoming a cult classic. Here's my question, TV Guide. He gave it 1.5 out of 4. If it's truly one of the worst movies ever made, what's that 0.5 for? You have no integrity at all.
It was fucking terrible, but you know what? The polar bear was cool.
Now see, this is just craziness to me. So the Flavor Wire review, Jason Bailey says, there's no warmth to the movie, no good cheer or happiness, and at the risk of bathing in bathos, ne'er a hint of what makes the season special. How is this film not dripping in good cheer? What
are you talking about?
Santa Claus is such a wholesome, sweet boy that he literally almost gets shot out of an airlock because he's too trusting, and he still overcomes the odds and saves Christmas on Mars. I don't know what you're talking about, Jason Bailey. I think there's plenty of good cheer.
He also just laughs the entire time.
What's more cheerful than a good old-fashioned solitary laugh, with or without friends? Here's one from...
Oh, yeah, alright, I got one for when you're done.
No, you go first, do tell.
For years, I thought this film was produced in Japan by the same folks who did Godzilla in the 60s. For years, every Christmas, I asked Santa Claus to destroy this film and keep independent hometown channels from showing it. That's when I realized there wasn't a Santa Claus. They continued to show this tripe. I guess in 1964 they thought kids would like this. Now don't get me wrong, I am of the generation that was reared on Astro Boy, Ultraman, Space Giants, and several stupid Sinbad movies, as well as Jason and the Argonauts, but this was just utterly stupid.
Wow, this movie literally killed Christmas for this poor man. Oh my god. Here's one from Cinema Crazed, Felix Vasquez Jr., a terrible product from people who wanted to appeal to kids but likely never met one in their lives. Oh man. Here's one from one of the user reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes. I just happened to catch this movie on TV the other night, unfortunately. It's got an interesting story, which may have been the inspiration for Disney's new movie, Mars Needs Moms.
Whoa, there we go.
Oh, what an observation. Fuck.
Okay, this is completely off the rails. I just found a book on Amazon called Santa Claus Conquers the Homophobes. It's the book 2 of the Santa Claus Chronicles. Features Santa in the sun looking at a woman shitting coins out of her asshole.
What?
Yeah, total aside. Just need to bring that up really quick. Is there a 0 rating available? This Christmas classic is anything but, although TNT and a couple of other cable networks have decided to make it traditional. Gee, that and colorization. Someone go over and burn Ted Turner's mansion down, please. Nobody can act in this. John Call makes a hideous Santa, but you can get chuckles watching Leonard Hicks do his Carlton Heston impersonation. The FX are worthy of an elementary school pageant, and each plot point is spelled out in excruciating detail. Brain-dead items like the characters' names. Keemar equals King Martian. Geemar equals Girl Martian. Momar equals Mom Martian. Just add to the excruciating pain. I didn't even realize that.
I did not either. I was too caught, like, literally, I think my brain did, like, find and replace for every single Martian name with flurbos, which are the, like, coins that Rick uses at the Roy game in Rick and Morty. So literally everyone was flurbo to me.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like those are some pretty solid reviews for you. Oh my god, that was from 1998.
You know what? God, yeah, that makes sense considering I'm like, ooh, like, who's still talking about Ted Turner like these days?
Holy shit, that was November 22nd, 1998. Who was mad enough in 1998 to go on IMDb and write an angry review?
That's kind of incredible.
Yeah. Bravo to you. Gislef?
Gislef.
I'm happy this movie made you really mad.
Stay mad, bros.
Alright, this is fucking nothing anymore. Do we want to call this?
I think we've said our piece. I mean, I think, here we are truly destroying our credibility, like 2 episodes in a row. First we, go to the podium for Spider-Man 3, and now we're taking a bullet for Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. No one will ever trust a word we have to say again.
No, never. I mean, we're already kind of on shaky ground after our JoJo episode, so...
Well, I mean, I guess you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I believe live long enough to see yourself become the Martian.
Oh.
I don't fucking know what that was. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Santa Claus Conquers the Martian was fucking great. I'm Sean McKinda. I'm on Twitter at Sean_McKinda. iSortOf.com is my website. You can find a bunch of stuff I do there.
And I'm Jackson Keller. You can find me over on Twitter at JacksonJKeller, where y'all need to send me that video. I put out that bounty. Remember, I expect the dear army of horselings to pull through on this one.
What's the reward?
A firm handshake when we.
Oh
meet.
Wow, that sounds lovely.
And also the pride of having made a good meme.
As always, thanks loads to Highway through use of our usual theme song, Suicide Alternate Take, off the album High Octane Low Expectations. They're a wonderful band, they're on Spotify, all that good stuff, you should totally go check them out. But you might have noticed that this week we are in fact not using that as our theme, and instead going with Hooray for Santy Claus, the theme from Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. It's on YouTube. It's great. Go listen to it. And also thanks to 25yearslatersite.com, and we're so sorry. We're so sorry for that.
Speak for yourself, Sean. I apologize for nothing.
They've got a bunch of really great content, a lot of wonderful authors writing really smart things, talking about very interesting things like cult movies and television and all that good stuff. Go check them out. They're great. Next week is our annual Horsies. It's officially annual now. We've made it 2 years, so...
Boys and girls, we did it. We're here. We made it. The second annual Horsies. Hell yeah.
So that will be out on the usual Thursday of January 3rd. So it's going to be a little bit in between there. But for now, Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Goodbye, dear friends. Away! Merry Christmas, everyone. Away!